Hey there everyone, welcome back to Best Green Homestead. Here I'm just going to show you some of the pasture areas. You can see behind me we moved this fence a little bit, not a full rotation as the coop kind of thing we got set up here, little chicken tractor, it's on wheels. We didn't pull that forwards yet because we got a good thick bedding material in there, but we got them mostly fresh pasture, and then the next move we're going to pull that forwards and keep rotating them along. They've incredibly improved all of our grass since we moved in here. We had almost nothing but weeds, and they've weeded it. They eat the weed seeds, they fertilize it with you can see some of the grass, how bright it is. There are some areas where I put some soil down here, you can see, and I seeded in the fall. That's coming back nice. Sometimes where they dug a little bit more, the thing with the chickens is sometimes they'll dig their dust bath holes there. But here you can see behind me, we've got our Rhode Island Reds and our Barred Rocks in this breeding pasture here. Now they're in a compost pile. They're digging through this compost pile and finding a lot of bugs. They are getting even microscopic bugs that, pretty much microscopic anyways, that would be invisible to us. They eat when they're eating dirt and stuff, and they get a lot of that, and really high in protein. You need protein to produce an egg, protein and water, the main ingredients in eggs, as well as calcium. So they're going through here and eating all this down. So you could see how much they've already spread it out. We had it in more of a pile. This is over a year old, this compost pile. It's not the ideal compost pile. I didn't rotate it properly. I didn't really have the time to do that stuff, but any compost pile still composts. It just takes longer if you don't do it as well. But this is mostly shavings mixed with the nitrogen from their poo. So there's some poo in here, there's some feed in here, but it's been sitting for a long time, most of it anyways, especially on the bottom. And they're digging through here. They're getting any leftover feed that they might find, along with all those bugs that are in there. You can see how much they love it. They got a full feeder in there, and none of them are in there. They're out here mostly in this compost pile. Some of them were eating the grass. The ducks mostly were eating the grass, and some of the chickens were over here getting grass. I think they got any bugs that were hiding in some leaves and stuff from over the winter. And so you can actually use a rotational compost pile system in a 4-week interval by the time it's composted by 4 weeks and you rotate it and whatnot, you get the chickens in there and they can survive just on a rotational compost pile system. We've seen people on YouTube that do this. We haven't got into this. It's a bit of a project in itself. I've thought about it in the past. You can get excess waste produce from grocery stores and compost it in piles, or even I've seen people just using horse manure mixed with a bunch of carbon material. So you need your nitrogen mixed with your carbon to get your compost pile. So here we have a similar thing. It's the chicken poo mixed with the wood shavings to have your carbon and your nitrogen. So it's getting a little chilly out here. I'm in a t-shirt. It was a lot sunnier. It was a nice sunny spring day here, but I'll flip the camera. So here you can see the Rhode Island Reds and the Barred Rocks digging through this compost pile. They've already spread it out an enormous amount. It used to be up here in a couple hours. They've spread it out quite a bit. They do a lot of work for you. So my plan with this was I filled this hole, and these chickens are going to spread it out for me, and then I'm going to put some topsoil on top. There's already some topsoil and whatnot mixed into this. I believe I've thrown in some soil here and there. You can see them picking through and getting all whatever they like. And they're going to spread this out, and I'm going to put some soil on top, and I'm going to plant some kind of a garden here, some organic vegetables. We'll get maybe some carrots. I was thinking would do well in this it'll be very loamy soil, and very loose soil for carrots to grow through, root vegetables. So it might be a good idea to do root vegetables in here. It's going to be really high nitrogen for stuff to grow, as well as potassium and everything that NPK there, everything that vegetables need to grow. It's just a little bit more high nitrogen with chicken manure. But chicken manure is, some people call it black gold. It's one of the best, if not the best, fertilizer for growing grass and pasture as well as crops, vegetables of any kind. So now I can come over here. We'll show you, come over the fence and show you some other area here. I'm going to go over to this pasture in a minute that we moved. Here I'm just going to show you how green the grass is. A lot of people don't have green grass yet this time of the year in our area, and it's very green in a lot of areas on our property, especially where the chickens were fairly recently. We had them here in the summer, I believe was the last time they were in this area specifically, and then they moved way further over to the right, and I brought them back here in the winter, and now they're coming back, and they'll rotate back this way. They hit it a little harder in some areas, digging around and whatnot. Put soil down, you can see the seed coming up, and that'll be really nice grass. And all these brown areas are all seeded, so that'll be nice. That's one thing they do. Maybe we didn't rotate them there as soon as we could, but sometimes even in a matter of a day, they dig holes and they do their dust baths, and that's what they like to do, to dig to find all those good things like bugs and grubs and all the pests you don't want, the ticks. They're going to find grasshoppers going around, flying around and whatnot. Ducks love mosquito larvae. They eat up a lot of stuff that you don't want, or just stuff that just happens to be around that's going to help feed your chickens. So, and they like to dig in some of the loose sandy soil we have here. So, but then they add a lot of this organic matter. We have really sandy soil. Our soil dries out a lot. We've noticed regenerating our land over the years here. We've added a lot of organic matter. It feels a lot more spongy. It retains a lot more moisture. In the areas where we had a chicken tractor, for example, and moved it, but a week later, it's some of the greenest grass we got. A week or two later, depending on the time of the season, it just grows incredibly well, very thick and lush. And when all the other grass is dead on the property in August, when it's a drought period, it's still green. And why is that? Well, there's a lot of nitrogen in that soil from the chickens, but mainly it is because there's a lot of organic matter that is good to hold moisture. It holds nutrients. It inhabits a lot of microbes within that soil. It improves your soil structure. Soil is living. A teaspoon, as I've maybe mentioned in previous videos, a teaspoon of soil can contain more microbes than people on the planet of this earth. Good soil. It's living soil. The fact that farmers nowadays look at farmland as the way they do and treat it the way they do is, in my mind, pathetic. And spraying all those chemicals to kill pests and herbs, the problem with that is it's good in the short term and bad in the long term, because you kill a lot of what's in that soil. And the whole idea of no-till gardening, and the reason why that is beneficial is because it retains a lot of those microbes, because tilling it kills everything. It kills about a third, I believe, of a third or 2/3, I can't remember. I've seen in other people's podcasts that are kind of scientists in this aspect. It kills over half, I believe it is anyways, of the microbes, or a very good portion of them. So the microbes are actually what feed the plants. The soil doesn't really feed the plants. They call it an exodus. It's essentially microbes eat plant matter and stuff within the soil, to put it vaguely, and then they essentially poop out what plants eat. So when you kill those microbes through tilling and chemicals and everything like that, it kills the soil, it kills what feeds the plants, and then you're reliant, the system, the corn they grow, the soybeans they grow, it's reliant on those artificial chemical fertilizers, because they use those chemical pesticides and herbicides to kill everything, because they're not very selective, most of them, a lot of them anyways. Some of them are fairly selective, but it kills everything within the soil. Although there's rhizomes, I can get into detail in this in a gardening video. I'm not going to go too in depth. I'm showing some pasture here, but I'm getting off on a tangent. So that's why this is regenerative agriculture. This improves the soil. Whereas modern, this is more traditional agriculture. What our forefathers kind of did on homesteads. Modern agriculture is killing the land. It's making very poor food full of chemicals because of what they do. The soil soaks it up, it drifts off into the water, and it's just a cycle where the farmers are reliant on the chemical companies to spray them with herbicides, and then it kills everything, so then they have to use chemical fertilizers, and it's just a vicious cycle in the wrong direction, and there's no life within the soil anymore. And not much wants to live there. Look at a monoculture farm. What's going around a cornfield when it's the same thing growing for miles and miles? Nothing really goes there. You see a crow maybe going to eat something there, but nothing. It's not a healthy environment. It's not biodiverse. Biodiversity is what you're after in regenerative agriculture. You're trying to mimic nature as much as you can. Permaculture, regenerative agriculture. It's where you have your chickens within your trees, and everything works together in not a vicious cycle, but a glorious cycle, if you call it that. Everything benefits one another. We've got an 85-foot strawberry garden. We use our chicken poo to grow the strawberries. Chickens love strawberries. Any excess strawberries will go back to the chickens. Organic strawberries back to the chickens. They grow more strawberries. We're gonna grow a bunch of. We want to get into growing corn and a bunch of the grains that they like, but we found that they actually like a lot of vegetables more than they do the grains. So scrap vegetables from the garden will go to the chickens. The chickens will have their compost and their shavings and their manure, and then we work that into the soil where we grow gardens that grow better vegetables to feed to the chickens. And we can have sunflowers and we want to grow a bunch of sunflowers, and we're going to grow more food for us, and the excess of that and what goes back to the animals. It attracts more nature in the area. We got bunnies coming around here, and they like to eat the grass on our property because it's so lush and green and full of nutrients because it's fed by those chickens. And that's what we're after here. We've been trying to do the healthiest food we can on our property. We've got surrounding our property. We're going to do a video. If you subscribe, you'll see we've got a very biodiverse food forest orchard we're trying to develop. We got some raspberries and strawberries over here, and following the whole back fence line, we've got peach trees up near the house that we're doing to make sure they're shaded a little bit so that they don't bloom too early and the frost kills them. So they need to be up near the house, kind of northeast side that we try to do. But we've got pears. We've got like 15 varieties of apples. I can't even remember now. A lot of them are tagged. We've got 2 pear varieties. We got the peaches, the hardy peaches. We've got blueberries. We got honeyberries. We got raspberries. We got the huge strawberry garden. We've got we want to get more raspberries going. We got asparagus coming this year. We're going to try and plant. I tried to plant I think right here you might see, what do we got here? Yeah, so 2 cherries. You can see them blooming. We're going to have videos on how to prune properly as well. So there's 1 cherry we actually just planted last year. And then I'll flip around here. There's some dwarf cherries. And there's a dwarf cherry. They'll be coming in nice. There's buds on that one. You can see buds on this one coming in. Over here is a Stella cherry, another variety. We had a hardy kiwi. I'm not sure if it's still alive. We're going to have it. It was near that stake to climb up there. We'll get another one going if it doesn't make it. It was there, but we're going to try and get them going. There's the honeyberries here. We got 2 honeyberries. They're kind of like a raspberry blueberry combined. Oh, look at this. There's the blueberry indigo yum honeyberry. It's already got leaves on it coming in. There's the blueberries, got some buds on them coming in. Another blueberry, some buds on them. We're gonna prune these. We're gonna do some air layering. That's where you can put a cup around it and get them to grow roots, and then you can prune it off. We want to get into grafting and all this kind of stuff. You'll see some of that if you subscribe to our channel. There's another blueberry. I'm actually seeing some of these for the first time in the spring here. Over here we got a thornless blackberry. Over here is this is a serviceberry. It's common in, I think this is the Saskatoon serviceberry. This one, we replaced one that died. This is not sure what variety of apple, but, and then we've got, What do we got here? Can't even remember. I'm gonna have to go back and check. We'll have a video. I'll do a full video on them, but just to show you quick, here's the pasture I was supposed to talk about until I got off on a tangent. But there, that one I think is the only one that didn't make it. We had a walnut tree we planted to try and see if we get some walnuts going, even some maple trees. Maybe get some maple syrup. That won't be for 20 years, but plant a tree for the next generation right here. Let's see if we can see what this is for you. It's Liberty apple. Recommend them. Completely scabless variety. They're resistant to scabs from pests and whatnot. It's the easiest one for homesteaders to grow. I'd recommend this highly, and they've been doing really well. So we got a few extra of them just because they might do the best. And do the best when you're doing organic and you don't want to spray them with pesticides. You can do the sulfur, spraying them in the spring. It's not really a pesticide. It's been used for like over 100 years, I believe. There's some raspberries. We got a soaker hose line here. Some raspberries that we transplanted from another property. You can see the buds forming. What do we got? This is yellow transparent apple, and I think this is a Wolf River apple that gets the size of a small pumpkin. It's supposed to drop to the ground with a thud in the fall. Really big. I thought that would be neat. Here we got these budding nicely. Luckily deer didn't prune them for us this year, but they don't prune them too bad. And apple, pear, and a quincy way over there, quincy fruit. Here you can see our strawberry garden. This is 4 feet by 85 feet long. This is where I said it was, I put in the chicken shavings manure, and I did do a tilling because to get this garden going to begin with, but like minimal till, we're never going to till this again. And I didn't do it too deep just to mix in the, we killed some of the microbes maybe, but it's a really light tilling. It's not like a high speed one. So I want to do a very minimal tilling. You don't want to till, like if you till, you want to do like once a year, once every few years. Now I buried them all with this straw product. I want to come back through probably and open it up. So I put piles on top. They'll probably poke through on their own if I don't. But we had, as you can see, a lot of them are. And in the fall I came through, weeded most of this and put the straw on. And while I was at it, we'll do a video on just the strawberries and get in depth, but you need to prune your flowers off the first year and then prune your runners off the next year. But I planted all the runners, and this should yield, if we do it right, should yield 3,500 pounds of strawberries this year. Probably not going to be that much. And I don't have all that much time to have it perfect, but anything we can get would be great. It had a ton of flowers on it last year, and we had to cut them all off, which sucks, but that's how you develop your patch for the second year. The second year is the most productive, then they go down. But then you can take your runners and you can propagate new plants very easily. They propagate themselves. You can sell plants. You could plant a whole new garden. I'm going to take runners and pot them up in little Dixie cups or whatever and get some. I got to help this chicken that got over here. Here's a bunch of roosters and some new breeds we had that we just kind of moved over here. I got to get a tarp over here. I'm gonna get them something set up. It's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow, but we got them out on pasture. They're gonna be confused on where to go, but they got somewhere to go out of the rain. A bit of roosting areas. I'm gonna prune some branches off that tree there. That'll be a natural roost for them. We like them kind of wild chickens sometimes in the summer. They're pretty hardy and do okay. Some of these are hens, some of them are roosters. Some of them picked on each other because there's a lot of roosters in here, but for the most part they're doing okay. This guy's really pretty. It's a light brown leghorn rooster. We already got most of the ones we wanted for breeding. We picked the nicest ones. Let me help you, buddy. Okay, here just a second, guys, sorry. Here you go. Okay, nice sunset. Got the birds chirping. Feeling like a nice spring day. And yeah, so this pasture we got just a little pasture. We're getting some more fences we're gonna get and move things around, but got some temporary stuff set up for them. you saw the video, or if you didn't, maybe we'll put a link in the description where we did a tour of the greenhouse in the winter. I gotta fix some things up. We've been really busy, a lot of crap going on in our life. There's the Wheaten Americanas, but the blue Wheaten Americana roosters are very pretty. Nice breed. We got the ventilation opened up, ventilation fans going all the time. This door is normally closed. We got the sides open. This is the Farmer's Friend Gothic Pro 50 foot, 700 square foot greenhouse, about $3,000. Way cheaper than we could have built one out of wood, especially with the price of wood for a 700 square foot structure. And like I said, the passive solar heat in this, it's never below zero on a sunny day in the winter even. And the record cold day of minus 41 Celsius this winter, it was 3 degrees by 10 a.m. That's how amazing the passive solar heating is in this. So we're coming around. I guess I could show you. There's the PowerMax charge controller. I'm kind of just, I guess, doing a bit of a farm tour. Maybe we'll do more of a full farm tour later. I'm just going to do a quick one. There's another. This I think might be a Macintosh. We got Gala apples. We got Macintosh. We got Liberty. We've got basically every variety we could get from the local orchard. They're doing really well. They're due for a prune. We pruned them very heavy the first couple years. We should yield apples now. They're dwarf, semi-dwarf varieties on cold hardy rootstocks. Here's the 2 pairs. I started doing fencing around them, but that was going to be expensive to do it on all of them, and I didn't do that. But we want to do kind of a food forest. I had the idea, I haven't got around to it yet. Really busy, but having things grow up the sides of these underneath, you can have it shaded to have some lettuces and stuff that benefit from shade underneath your fruit trees, and then up here maybe have beans growing up and whatnot up the side. And there's the quincy, and here's the play structure that I desperately need to fix up for our daughter. And this chicken tractor's open. These guys, these are young ones. One's getting picked on, but these are very nice looking birds. These are the split lavender Morans. They're these girls are pretty friendly actually. And there's a lavender one. Some of the lavender ones, like that one, got picked on a little bit when it was in with all those roosters in the winter time, but they're not picking on it now, so it should get better. Here's one. Hey girl. See, look at the very nice feathering on that. They've some of them hatch lavender. These are split lavenders, so they hold one copy of the lavender gene. She wants to bite my ring. I'll show you real quick. These are the light blue and light brown leghorns. They're she got picked on when she was with a bunch of those roosters too, but she's better in here. And we're gonna get them a fence area. We gotta get a lot of these breeds a fence area, but they're very pretty. The light brown, you can see there's a light blue that just came into the frame, and we're gonna have chicks of them very soon. So the ducks are in there. Here's one of the heritage apple trees. We got a fence around this one. Turn it around here. So this fence area we moved, got help from a friend there, Dylan, and we moved it over here. Got some pallets stacked up there. This was a virgin pasture area they've never been, and you can see it's already like a golf green. It's been a week. They've dug a little bit in some areas where they've found some extra bugs. We can fill that in with some dirt and whatnot, but they're about to move. There's also a compost pile that was here for a long time that they spread out pretty well. Don't really have it going right now, but we did have some solar panels where it ran lights for inside the coop and whatnot, and powered the charge controller. A little kind of off-grid coop setup that we had. I really need to put siding on this finally. Doesn't look so good, but it's effective. We built this one like a house. It's got 50-year shingles on it. Nice windows that open up for ventilation and open soffit. and we can open this in the back for the hotter months when it needs even extra ventilation. But you can see it's a really nice area for them, and what it looks like in just a week, and they can move on to a new area. This one is a permanent coop, so it's not as rotational. I kind of regret building a permanent coop. It is good, it is bad. Overall, what we're going to do in the future is greenhouses in the winter. Things can be grown in the summer months in the greenhouses, and we've got them there right now. We're too busy to move them. But then chicken tractors, we're going to build better ones. We're going to maybe make our own design. We don't really like the John Siskovich style exactly. That's probably the best one in my mind though, but I might alter it a little bit to be more capable for the colder months. Probably not the winter, but the fall, spring and stuff like that, and maybe some of the winter if they're not in the greenhouses right away. And the Joel Salatin style, they get ran over easily. It's hard to catch them out of it. You can't walk into it. It's not the best for nesting boxes. They're good for meat birds, and that's about it. But anyways, I think that's enough for this video. Thanks for watching till the end. We'll do more in depth on the electric poultry netting and how to use it and how to rotate it and stuff. We'll try and do a video for that maybe. We swear by it. If it's working properly, which it always is unless we mess up, that we have the odd time over the years when we had a plug-in one, we left it unplugged or whatever, but as long as you make sure they're plugged in, we have never lost any birds to ground predators if they're set up properly. If they blow down or if the charge controller's off, something will get in. But this will keep out, it does keep out, we see on the trail cams and everything, fox, coyote. It seems to keep out raccoons. We've had raccoons on the trail cam, neighboring dogs, anything that might want to come in here. We haven't even had an issue with weasel or anything, even the smaller animals. I'm surprised they haven't been able to make their way in. But maybe they get a shock and they stay far away. It's a psychological thing. They get a good shock by this. Trust me, if you come out here in bare feet and get a good shock with this and it goes through your heart, they can be up to 20,000 volts. It's not enough to kill you because current kills you and it's a low current, but it's a high voltage. And you get a coyote comes up, touches these fences in their nose and it goes through their whole body to their foot. They remember and they don't go anywhere near that fence. Our big 150-pound dog will not go near these fences anymore after she's been shocked. You can keep a dog inside that maybe is to protect, or a dog outside to protect. But these fences are the most reliable things to protect your poultry. We have geese in them, we have chickens in them, we have ducks in them, and we even use them with cows. They would work with sheep as well. You can get cheaper versions for sheep and pigs and cows and whatnot that don't have such small holes. But anyways, regenerative agriculture is reliant on these fences if you want to do rotational pasture. We love them. It's a beautiful sunset to end this video. Look them up. They're cheaper than buying T-posts and trying to build a permanent run. 1,500 square foot for one fence. Like I've said in the past, you put two together in a circle or a square, that's 5,000 square feet. It gets a little exponential. We've got about 9 together at the other property. We'll maybe show you a bit of a farm tour of the other property, especially when we get divided up. We're using the geese as tools. They're lawnmowers and weeders in a cedar tree farm, and we're rotating them. We're gonna have hundreds of geese, and they did such a great job last year of mowing it like a golf green everywhere. Saved a ton of labor. That's why a lot of people use ducks and geese in orchards to mow the lawn and fertilize and keep pests away and whatnot, slugs and stuff that will eat your apples and whatnot. And that's how regenerative agriculture works. Everything helps one another. Our grass grows better because of the chicken poo. They spread everything out. Your cows can have their manure spread out by chickens when they're rotated after, and they get the larvae out of it and they keep the fly population down. And then the chickens grow better grass, and then the cows come back and eat that, as Joel Salatin calls it, salad bar grass. And it's just full of nutrients, and then it's a cycle again. And then you got the cows and then the chickens, and the chickens and the cows. The grass goes better for the cows, the grass goes better for the chickens. It all works together you grow better produce. Everything can work together. All the birds are going away for the night. You can even fly them up on roosts. Anyways, I better sign off. I got some work to do before it's pitch black out, some chores. Happy homesteading from our family to yours. Take care.